When we talk about course instructor on Udemy, you always think of people who create courses. But do you know that apart from creating courses, you can also create practice tests on Udemy? In this video here, I'm going to show you step by step how you can create practice tests to sell on the Udemy platform. Before we go on to the tutorial on how to make practice tests on the Udemy platform, let's first look at some examples of practice tests that are already on sale on Udemy. Let's start off by first looking at the practice tests available on the Udemy platform. So if you type in practice tests, okay, and you'll see these are actually practice tests. So the way to differentiate a practice test on Udemy from a course, a video course, it's this portion here where it says how many questions. Okay, while if it is a video course, okay, even if it says practice test here, you'll see the number of hours and the number of lectures. So this is a video course, while this one here, because it says 390 questions, it is a practice test. So let's take a look at this practice test here that is being sold on Udemy. So it has around 172,420 students. So from my experience, the instructor will earn around $3 to $4 per student. So if you take a look at this instructor actually earns close to $500,000 from this practice test alone. There are also instructors who solely focus on creating practice tests. So for example, this instructor here, he produces or he creates just practice tests for sale. So if you look at these are basically practice tests, and so on. Okay, so a total, he has 9 courses and all of them are practice tests and a total of 227 students. There are also instructors who devote their entire Udemy platform. This means that he probably earned more than $681. And if you take a look at many of his courses, they are new. So he's a relatively new instructor with 6 out of his 9 courses being a new one. So probably he had earned already $600+ in the first few months, which is pretty good in my opinion. Next, I'm going to go to my screen and show you step by step how you can create practice tests on Udemy. To do so, you first need to log in to your Udemy account and then click on this instructor button here. Go to the course dashboard if you are not already directed there, and then click on new course. Next, you'll be asked what type of course you're creating, whether it is a course or a practice test. So click on practice test, then click continue. So next, you need to give your course a title. So don't worry about the title name, you can always change it later on. So for example, I will type in Python here. Alright, click continue. Next, you need to choose the category that best fits the knowledge you will share. So it's very important to choose the correct category because when the people search on Udemy, okay, they usually search for maybe like Python or certain category, and Udemy will show them the search results based on the category that they believe the student is searching for. So having a correct category is important so that you will show up when people search for that category of course. So Python belongs to development, so I'll choose development and click continue again. How much time can you spend creating your course per week? It doesn't matter, you can just answer anything. So I just write I haven't decided yet, or you can have lots of flexibility. In my experience, it doesn't affect anything. All right, now you can create your course. Okay, so once you're here, there are some items that you need to do. So first thing, you need to click in who are the intended learners. So these are basically just questions that you need to answer. So firstly, what will your students learn in this course? And you must enter at least 4. So for example, let's assume that mine is a basic Python practice test. So Python, then data structures, okay, data types, control loops, something like that. Okay, just write 4 and you can add more if you want to. All right. Next, what are the requirements or prerequisites for taking the course? So you can just say what are the requirements. So basic understanding of Python. Okay, you can also add more response. What are the requisites? So you'll notice that for most of the beginner courses, right, the requisites is usually none or just an interest in that subject. Okay, that's what most instructors write. Who is this course for? For Python beginners and so on. Okay, you can write more. Okay, you can add more to your response. Once you have done that, saved it. Okay, then you need to go on to the course landing page. Okay, so in the course landing page, you need to give a course title and the subtitles. Take note, the course and the course subtitles are very important because it helps in the search. Okay, so when people search for keywords, right, if your course or your course title have these keywords, okay, it will help to rank yourself or your course higher up in the search. Okay, then you also need to write the course description. So the course description needs to be at least 200 words. Okay, so typically I'll start off by talking about what this course is about, what do they expect to learn, or if it's a practice test, you can talk about what people will expect to see. Okay, then you can talk about yourself, so about the instructor. Okay, then if you already have reviews from other courses, or if you also sell outside Udemy, you can talk about what other people say about your course. Just cut and paste. Okay, so basically course descriptions, if you look at many of the instructors one, it usually falls on 3 sections. Firstly, they start off by talking about the course. Secondly, after that, they talk about themselves. Thirdly, they talk about what people say about their course. It could be their reviews that they already have. So after you have published this course and you get good reviews, you can also cut and paste these reviews inside. Or you can also get the reviews from outside. So if you have published the course outside, you can also get these reviews from there and then just cut and paste here. Okay, so it helps to give social proof. Right, next, basic information, what language it is, what level is it, whether it's beginner, intermediate, or expert, or all levels. Okay, then I've chose development, so you can choose a specific category. So if it is a Python one, it will be a programming language. Then next, you need to write what is primarily taught. So maybe I'll just put Python. Okay, after that, you need to create a course image, which measures around 250 by 422 pixels. So the course image, right, is basically the image that shows up together with your course. So if you have to look at these courses here, so this is the course image. So these are the picture that will show up together with the course, and that will be your course image here. So they gave a guideline, 750 by 422 pixels. Okay, and it also needs to meet the course image quality standards. So what I've noticed, the main thing is don't put any copyright images. The images should not be similar to the other courses that you already have. Okay, so that it stands out from the other courses that you already have. And additionally, do not have any text inside. So you notice that most of the courses here, okay, I'm not sure why this one gets accepted, because mine doesn't get accepted when I put in words. Okay, but most of the time my comments from them is you shouldn't have words. So you notice that for most of the courses, they tend not to have any words inside them. Okay, so once you have that, you can also put in a promotional video to tell people more about the practice test that you are selling. Okay, then you have your instructor profile, which should be completed, okay, before you can sell any course. Okay, once you're done with this, you can save it. Okay, and then you can go on to your practice test. Okay, so now before you can make any practice test, you must first set a price, because for practice test, it cannot be free. So for video courses, if they are lesser than 2 hours, the total videos add up to lesser than 2 hours, it can be set as a free course. But for practice tests, they must be paid. So you must go to pricing first and first set a price before you can create any practice test. So for example, I choose $19.99. I feel that it doesn't really matter because Udemy will, because I'm opt into the deals program, Udemy will discount it to whatever price they like. So whether I put $19.99 or $199.99, I noticed that at the end of the day, people buy it for less than $20. Well, that is how it is. All right, so it's up to you what price you want to choose. Okay, so you can save it. So once you're done, now when you go on to practice test, you notice that well, you can now set a practice test. Okay, so you can click on plus and then you can create a practice test. So let's create a practice test. Let's call it Python. So before you can click add practice test, you actually need to at least have the duration. So for example, maybe I let it to be 90 minutes and 50% to pass. So in other words, if there are, 50% to pass. So if it is 100, if there is a score of 100, then they need 50 marks to pass. If it is 120, then they need 60 marks to pass. Okay, something like that. You can choose to randomize the answer, randomize questions and answer order. Okay, or you can choose not to. So it's totally up to you. So if you randomize whatever questions that you put the order, okay, the students, okay, will get a different order each time they try the test. Okay. Okay, now that we are here, before I go on to show you how to create the questions inside the practice test, there are some things that you need to take note of. So here it says that you must have a minimum of 2 practice tests to publish. So before you can click publish course, you must first have 2 practice tests. Okay, so you must have at least 2 that you have created. Intending to offer your course free, the total length must be less than 2 hours. Actually, this doesn't apply because there's no way you can upload any videos onto the practice test unless you make it a YouTube video or you load your video somewhere else and then link it there. Okay, so for practice test, you do not need any videos at all. Okay, if you want to have videos inside your practice test, maybe for explanation, then you'll need to put it as a link. Okay. Okay, now coming back to this, they say that you must have at least 2 practice tests. Okay, and then you can have a maximum of 6 practice tests only. So minimum 2 practice tests, maximum 6 practice tests for each practice test that you sell on Udemy. So now that I have created 2, so the practice test needs questions, right? So there are 2 ways to create questions. You can either have a single question or a batch question uploaded. So I'll start off by showing you how to make a single question. Okay, how to put in 1 question at a time. Okay, so for Python, there are 2 types. For practice tests on Udemy, there are 2 types. Okay, it is either multiple choice or multiple select. There's no free response. There's no where you practice test whereby you can key in the answer. It's either multiple choice or multiple selection. So multiple choice is basically you give a number of choices as the answer and only one of it is correct. Multiple selection is you give a number of answer choices and there can be 1 or more correct answers. So I'll start off by showing you how to create a multiple choice questions, and later on I'll move on to multiple select to show you how you can create multiple selection questions. So let's start off with multiple choice. So let's see, maybe what data type is 30. Okay, so integer, float, boolean, and maybe string. Okay, so these are the 4 answer choice. So because it's a multiple choice questions, only 1 will be the correct answer. So to click the correct answer, you can actually you just need to click it. So 30 is basically an integer, so I'll just click it as integer. Okay, then you can write an explanation. So for example, 30 is a whole number, so it is an integer, something like that. Okay, for explanation. So after the quiz, then they will see the explanation if it's needed. All right, then you can write which knowledge area it is. Okay, because later on, if there is a set of questions, there are many questions from different knowledge area, the test results will also break them down based on the different type of knowledge area. So maybe this one I'll write it as data types. I put an add. Okay, then I click it here, then I saved it. So now I have a multiple choice question here. Next, I'm going to show you how to create a multi-selection question. So new question, single question, multiple selection. So maybe let me say which of the following will print the following. Okay, so let me write print hello world. Okay, this one is incorrect because if you're familiar with Python, you actually need the inverted commas in order to print it. If not, there'll be an error. So this is not the answer. Okay, then you have print hello plus world. Okay, this one also won't, because if you concatenate or you put a plus sign, they are just joined together and this will show hello world. Okay, which is incorrect. Then next, print hello world, comma world. This one will give this hello world with a space, because if you put comma, it will print the first one, then it will put a space, then it prints the second one. So this is the correct answer. So this is also correct. It will print what we want here, which is hello world. Okay, so these two are the correct answers. So for multiple selection, you can have one or more answers. All right. Okay, then you can put in explanation. So you can put in okay, so you can say this will give an error, then will give hello world as an output. Okay. Okay, and I'm going to copy this again. Okay, then I will cut and paste this. Okay, and then change this. So there you go, I'm done with this multiple select question, and I will save it. Okay, so I have created two questions, okay, by making one question at a time. Okay, so and this is a multiple choice questions, and this one is a multiple selection question. Hold on, before I go on, I also want to add in something. Okay, I want to add in the knowledge area. So this one is print function, for example. Okay, so this is another knowledge area. So let me save it. All right. So now that I'm done with these two questions, of course, for the real practice test that you upload on Udemy, you should have more questions. If you look at most of the practice tests, they have hundreds of questions. So you do need to add in more questions. Okay, so next you can do a preview. Let's do a preview. Okay, so let's begin the test. Okay, so which is the data type? So I know the answer is integer, but let me just write it as a wrong one. Then the next one, which of the following will print hello world? So I'll click this one and this one. So the second question, I get it correct. So finish test. Okay, so I passed because I answered one of the two questions correctly. So you notice the knowledge area comes here. It will tell you, oh, what percentage of this categories question do you get correct, and what percentage of these categories questions do you get wrong. Then you can also review the questions. So you can review all questions. You can also review the questions based on the knowledge area or the incorrect ones, and so on. So this is I really like it, this way, the way they categorized it. Okay, it's quite good for learners to learn or students to learn, okay, or to review the quiz, okay, based on the categories or based on whether it's correct, incorrect, or skipped. Okay, so you notice that for this type of practice questions, right, you basically need to, the way that I create just now is basically a single question by a single question, right? Okay, so let's go back to here. So in practice test 1, I only created 2 questions. So if you were to create a real practice test and sell it on Udemy, there should be more questions. So I created the questions one by one in practice test 1. So in practice test test 1, I actually use the add single question. So you have to key in one question at a time. But there's a faster method, which is basically the batch question uploader. So in order to do so, you will need to make use of Udemy's practice test question template. Okay, and something to take note, right? If you want to upload images, right, you cannot upload to this template. Okay, so later on, I'll show you how you can upload images if you're going to use the practice test template. Okay, so what you need to do first is to make sure that you have a practice test template and download it. If not, click on this and download it. So the this test bulk question upload template that you have downloaded is a CSV file. So you can open the CSV file with Excel, Google Sheets, or because I do not have Excel in my computer, I actually make use of OpenOffice, LibreOffice. Okay, it is a free software, it's a free open source software. But if you do not have Excel, you can also make use of Google Sheets, okay, to open this file. So if you take a look at this template here, there are a few columns. The first column is the question. The second question is the question type. So you basically need to write it as either multiple choice or multi-select. So very important, right? You need to write it as it is. You cannot write multiple space choice. It will not be able to read it, okay? So I'll suggest just copy and paste, okay, what was already here. Okay, then here are the answer options. Okay, they gave up to 15 answer options, but if you have lesser than 15 answer options, basically what you need to do is you just need to fill in what you have. Okay, then the question will just show maybe for this question 4 answer choices and so on. Okay, then after the answer choice options, okay, you need to write the correct response. So whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So if the correct answer is answer option 6, you just put 6. So for multiple choice, remember you only can have one correct answer, one correct response. But for the multiple selection questions, you can have more than one correct response. Then the different type of questions you can put in as 1, 3, 4, and so on. All right. Okay. You can add more questions. Okay. So for example, before I go on. So after the correct response, you can also put in the explanations. So you can write in the explanations for here. Okay, there is also the knowledge area that you can put in. So it's the category of the questions. All right. So the template already gives some questions. So most likely what you need to do is you need to delete these questions and then put in your own. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in maybe 2 questions. So I'm going to maybe delete it. Okay, so the first question is maybe what data type is 30? Okay, then you have multiple choice. So I'm going to make it as a multiple choice, and I'm going to delete this, and then maybe the first one is integer, float, okay, boolean, and then the fourth one will be string. Okay, then the correct answer is option 1, right? 1. So I'm going to write the correct option as 1 here. Oops, 1. Okay, then I'll write 30 is a whole number, hence it is an integer. Okay, then you need to write in the knowledge area. So I'll write this as data type. Okay, I also delete the rest because they shouldn't be there anymore. Okay, so I'm done with the first one. Then I can go on to the second question. Okay, the second question, for instance, I want a multi-select one. So which of the following will give the output hello world? Okay, so I want it as multi-select. So I'm going to put in my answer option. So print hello world, print hello world, print hello comma world. Okay, print hello plus world. Okay, so the correct answer is essentially option 2 and 3. So it's 2, 3. So I'll say okay, so I'll just type in the explanation. So for time saving, basically I will just put in as this is the explanation, but you just need to type in the explanation. Okay, I also want to put in the knowledge area. So the second question, maybe I'll call it the print function as a knowledge area. Okay, you should have more questions for your you should have more questions for the actual practice test that you're selling, but because this is a demo, I'm only going to make 2 questions. So once you're done, just save it. Okay, save it, use text CSV, do not change its format. So if you're using Excel, they'll ask you whether you want to change it to the XL, XS format, okay, or whichever software they are using, they'll ask you whether you want their default format, but no, you just keep it as the CSV format. So once you're done, okay, we can move on back to Udemy to upload the course. To upload these questions. Now let's go back to Udemy, and I want to upload the questions from that CSV file. So I go to questions, batch up, question uploader, and then select the file. Okay, and you notice these will now be shown here. Let's preview them. Okay, so this is in practice 2. So let's begin the test. Okay, so data type is 30. Okay. Okay, I should get 100 marks for it. Yes, I got 100 marks. Okay, and again, okay, you can review the questions based on the knowledge area. Okay. Okay, or the correct questions. There's no incorrect questions because I answered them all correctly. So this is another way of uploading the questions using the template bulk uploader. Okay, it is easier when you have hundreds of questions. This way is way easier. Okay, because you don't need to type in each question one by one. Next, I want to show you how you can upload images to the questions. So recall that for the template, it doesn't allow you to upload images. Okay, so if you want to put in images into your questions, you need to upload it question by question. So let's use this as an example on how you can upload images. So I'll go to this question here. Okay, so instead of writing, we'll give the output hello world, I will paste an image of hello world. So I'll go to this, which is image here, select the file that I'm interested in. Okay, then it will show up here. Okay, the way of including images, right, whether you use the template or whether you create each question by itself is the same. Okay, you need to go into that question, click on image, and then put it where you want, and then upload that image so that it will appear in your practice test. All right, so let me save this. Okay, so once you have completed, okay, your practice test, completed creating a practice test, you can click on publish course. Okay, then it will go through Udemy's review. Okay, and then it will be published.